Only, let's say the game falls into similar, it begins to receive 10,000 or more traffic per day.
Well, that's strange. Anomalously, we have only one game left in similar on our account.
It shows exactly how much time they spend on screenshots, how much time they spend watching videos.
What Google knows does not mean it tells us, so thanks to those who make their tools.
I will disclose a terrifying secret to you in order to acquire an outstanding download speed right at this very moment in time. Hello friends everyone! Today we commence the second round table. The subject matter of this round table will likely be somewhat more relevant to me than the initial one, as our company has a historical background in children's games. Evgeny, my coworker from Ingo Kids Company, was originally scheduled to give a presentation, but due to certain historical reasons, it unfortunately did not work out as planned. However, there is a report and it is quite interesting, and we, along with colleagues from other major children's publishers, made a decision to discuss it. Is it worth it or not to attend new children's games? And definitely support us with a like on social media. Make sure to subscribe to our channel and don't forget to ask your questions in the comments section. Well, now it is your turn, Zhenya.
Hello everyone, colleagues. I have been in the children's game industry for 9 years. We have the 24th year. From the 15th year, I entered the industry as a programmer, and at the moment I have been a producer for the last 4 years, I think. Today we will discuss children's games from different perspectives. We will look at them, and here's what Oleg initially said. Let's think if it's a good idea to get involved in them. And for those who got involved, let's say how to start feeling more comfortable here. And I think today we will share all the interesting experience, and many will take something for themselves. This headline that you see on the screen is of course more clickbait. It was made for the conference, so I was interested in getting as many listeners as possible for my lectures. That's why the headline is like this. Here is a commencement without any investments. Naturally, this is subject to conditions, but when compared to games designed for adults, this can be considered true to some extent in a certain sense. Here we have a meme, so I decided to create a fun game for children. In the initial image, a girl imagines what to do with a large sum of money. After 3 months, another girl, possibly the same one, expresses her discontent with Google for its organic search results. Here. However, there is also a specific significance in this picture, because why is the girl crying due to the absence of organic food? Well, who needs organic? Yes, someone would say, who works in game dev. All normal people buy traffic. By the way, this will also be part of our discussion or conversation today. And we will have a conversation about it. Is it possible to purchase traffic in games designed for children? More precisely, those who buy traffic in the black, so to speak, because we can all buy traffic, it's not difficult. There the student will figure it out. However, purchasing traffic in addition, that is already a more intriguing topic, and those who buy, they seem to exist, according to the available information. Someone discussing buying traffic for kids, asking if any issues with specific providers or a particular source of traffic for children, any problems there. When it comes to networking, whether it's through TikTok, Facebook, or any other platform, someone there acknowledges their presence. To put it briefly, let's take a look back at how things were before and how they are now. The first point to consider is the period from 2008 to 2011, which was a truly unique time. During that time, the devices were strange and unreliable, with a complete lack of children's content or any substantial resources available. That's why they're called dense. It's unclear there. Here's what was happening in that specific situation. I missed this moment. I solely know about him from 1.5 devices that I had at that particular moment in time. So let's just leave them alone. And then the holy 12 and 16 come next. It was a fruitful time for Android developers, and I think not only in the children's category, but in general. At that moment, the Android device market was growing, and the app market was not keeping up with it. So any makeshift thing that you could, well, to put it not rudely, squeeze out of yourself, it got organic reach. it got advertising. It was a time of growth for the Android device market, and the app market was struggling to keep pace, resulting in opportunities for Android developers to gain organic reach in advertising. Let's put it this way, that point to which this picture relates the most. So at that moment, it wasn't necessary to be a programmer. It was enough to have a desire to do something, and you would do it, because our company started in a similar way. Here we are in some kind of application constructor. We did something, and it kind of took off unexpectedly for us, started making a lot of money. And in summary, everything we were doing at that time, it is all. Therefore, at the current level of today, it is not even comparable to a student's diploma work. It was more akin to laboratory work or completing assignments for remote courses, such as being a game developer in a rural area with limited resources and minimal guidance. Snacks. Yes, that is, it was a time when everything you upload there gets traffic and everything is in demand, because there was nothing and the market of devices was growing very fast. Next come the understandable 17 and 18. It was a time when the market, at least in Android, I know more, let's say, about Android, because only in the last 5 years we seriously took on iOS. That is the reason why these clear 17 and 18 were the period when the Android application market operated according to clear rules and regulations. If you make a quality game, then at that time there were no fakes taking off. Crafts didn't take off, but it was an understandable time. If you create a game with engagement, you develop a game that is not prone to crashes, not buggy. You do not have application not responding, ANR issues, and you have organic growth, which implies clear indicators. You achieve them, it is clear how to achieve them, it is clear what needs to be done to create a quality game with an adequate amount of content that the user will return to during several iterations, sessions, well, somehow we will call it, and this game will receive traffic. Furthermore arrived the years of COVID. These are the years that, so to speak, have proven to be an excellent launching pad for, in all likelihood, gaining understanding of individuals. They, let's say, something there is a mixture, understandable, incomprehensible, and holy. It was a period of time when a multitude of applications skyrocketed to unimaginable and mind-boggling levels of craziness. We had games designed for children, in which, well, there was, let's say, a small quantity of content, but we were receiving a total of 200,000 organic downloads per day. It endured for a specific extended period, during which our company, so to speak, also saw a significant increase in the number of individuals contributing to the overall growth and expansion of our organization during this particular time frame. But why did I single them out separately? Here in understandable 17 and 18, I did not include them, because we did not understand at all why something is growing with us. So we understood that this is COVID, but according to what criteria did the market select some applications to give them organic, or did Google select them, if Google does it intentionally or according to its own concepts? We were unaware and lacked comprehension, but we had numerous things flourishing, including a multitude of high priority projects, some of which we still possess, approximately speaking, ranging from 50 to 100,000 organic units per day. However, the number of such projects has significantly decreased following the impact of COVID. And, well, the completed COVID-19 pandemic also had a profound and far-reaching detrimental impact on us. So, during this COVID time, some companies have also grown significantly. I don't know, Olegi colleagues, maybe you can confirm if your company has grown there during this time in terms of revenue or employees. Then, when the COVID ended, the ruthless 22-24 began. That moment when this lack of understanding persisted from the time of COVID, when we couldn't comprehend why we were experiencing traffic congestion. Only now they don't give us traffic anymore, and we don't understand why again. And these last 3 years, well, there's about the middle of the 21st, when COVID started to decline, 20 to 23, those companies, and in children's it's the majority, who lived on organic stopped understanding how to get this organic, how to achieve recognition from Google. Throughout the years, we have successfully launched a multitude of exceptional games, and an extremely small proportion of these games have managed to attain significant traffic and a commendable level of organic reach. We did not understand the criteria. That is why there is a game there that we consider cool. It gets 100 installs per day, and some game in which there is little traffic, and it is especially about mechanics, engagement, we see internal indicators. So we see a game that the user spends on average 20 hours a month there. For example, in the game, we see a game where the user spends 35 minutes a month. And that's why this game played for 35 minutes a month got 80, 90K organics, while the other one got 100 installs per day or 1000 installs per day, meaning it didn't pay off and didn't work. That is the rules for today. There are no clear rules. They are absent. If someone, as one of the goals of this discussion is to identify these rules, maybe we will all share our information. It will become clear. Furthermore, I confidently state that cross-platform transfusion ceased accelerating organic matter since the onset of COVID-19. Oleg, I know, is constantly engaged in this. I don't know how recently, but he used to do it. Definitely. Well, we have tech standard practice.
This is a standard, and I do not see any reason to deviate from it.
I'm not saying you should move away from him. I'm saying that before, when you start pouring there, conditionally pouring, we will twist 20,000 installs a day from other of our applications, then gradually organic growth. That's how it pushed each other. The so-called Kate factor. Yes, currently it doesn't work. We poured large amounts, transferred traffic from one game to another of our games, and this led either to nothing or to a decrease in organic traffic. That is, such perturbations that occurred in the market. They are still unclear to us. We can only state them, and the most important and sad thing is that it's unclear what to do with this and how to proceed. I will tell you a little about iOS. In iOS, we also have a certain experience. That is, iOS, let's say, works somewhere according to the rules of 17, 18 years in Google Play. That is, these are understandable years. When you provide him with a game that has a substantial amount of content and performs well, there is a high probability that it will be rewarding and enjoyable. But maybe it's not about the game paying for itself, but about making money from games.
Based on my personal experience, I can honestly say that I don't see any dependence on the content, in my opinion. Irrespective of the size or quality, the application holds significance and can have varying outcomes. Well, in general, how is it there no traffic? In general, some other methods are needed there to pull this application up somewhere. Now, I know what has changed in the last months, the feeling that the author is pushing up an application that is good.
I can say for myself that we have a very strong correlation between engagement, which we take as conditional for a month, and the amount of traffic in the game. So we have about 40 projects published in iOS, and here is the top 10 by engagement. Well, I don't take retention, I take monthly engagement there. It is clear that engagement for the month is also formed thanks to retention. So this situation of ours, at least, is very clearly correlated with the top in terms of downloads in iOS. Perhaps, Maria, can you inform me what, within the context of your company's comprehension, constitutes a favorable or unfavorable application for you, and how do you assess it? So you're saying that...
Typically determined by the amount of income received. Usually the amount of income is generally proportional to the level of enthusiasm displayed. I monitor website traffic using keywords. Typically, most of my traffic comes from search engines as users search for relevant information on my site. In general, if I do not purchase, I only buy organic and I do not purchase, but he keeps slipping there permanently. Well, that's just everything.
Do you mean you observe the level of engagement on your games?
We look at engagement from the perspective of metrics within the application, because metrics affect purchases. This application is a little different from yours in terms of theme. Yours is more of an entertainment application. That is, here specifically engagement. And we have, it's huge, right? Kids can enter, play for free. We have educational. If we look at the internal conversion of games, look at retention, the number of DAU and MAU, no, not really.
Alright, fine. I will reiterate once more what our main focus is and what we are primarily looking at. In the past, upon entering Firebase, it displayed monthly engagement, and we have been observing and aligning ourselves with it throughout the entire existence of our company. And here are the games in which the duration is more than an hour. There are a total of 10 hours, 20 hours per month. These games specifically receive organic traffic on iOS devices. So, from my point of view, I can confidently say that if you want to obtain any traffic on iOS, your game must have a high level of engagement. So youngsters should engage in it well, and this should be reflected in the indicator of children's participation and enjoyment of play.
Based on the traffic, I have a feeling that if you provide the application with low-quality traffic, it will also experience a drop in Google rankings, and you will still be visible in the search results.
Google?
Google. What if in Google you say that you pour, I don't know how many cross-profile graphs you have the same from CA in principle. That is, certain applications themselves appeared in Google, some are high-quality applications with good metrics. No pop-up, localized in multiple languages but not in any way. When bad traffic poured in, we made a purchase, but still at 0. Initially, there were 200 installations, now it's 10. Just started generating traffic, more costly. 100 people turned into 5,000 in a short period of time. Then you turn on the traffic because...
However, I also do not observe such a correlation, for instance. Oleg, I am aware, he engages in cross-promotion extensively there. Most likely the super low conversion rate is to blame, probably. Like there's up to 10%, probably. Here we have experience pouring traffic like this, with low install conversion and low subsequent engagement. And also with a high conversion rate of installs. We have technologies by which we do it. That is, we are trying to filter out a user who will most likely be uninterested later. And I haven't noticed the difference between good and bad traffic for myself yet. We conducted a large number of cases, and we poured and just put everything like that in a heap. The more the better. And we carefully examined numerous captchas and other technologies present there in order to enhance conversion rates. We have experience in driving traffic with a conversion rate of around 45-47% and subsequent engagement 5 to 10% higher than the average organic engagement. 5 to 10% higher than the average organic engagement. Therefore, this is a truly favorable traffic that Google should appreciate. However, surprisingly, it yielded 0% organic growth. It is possible that we overlooked it, didn't perceive its impact, or failed to identify any correlation.
Zhenya, may I ask a question? Yes, I am Tolya from Magic Kids. We also develop an educational game for individuals aged 4-8, but there we have a larger number of users in the age range of 5-6-8. Here, you mentioned a phrase that you'll grasp from the start, if I misinterpreted it. Also let me know, will you comprehend from the start whether the user will have positive engagement or not? So you managed to sever them at that point. Can you explain the process and what you do with it?
It was such a provocative statement on my behalf that it caught someone's attention. We are able to understand not at the time of game creation, but at the moment of traffic upload. I simply didn't fully comprehend your question. You are inquiring about the time when we create a game? No, when are you already pouring traffic? Or when we pour, when you upload traffic? Yes. So, you see, I will offer you valuable insights for those who are interested in gaining knowledge and understanding on the subject. This is what happens when you transfer traffic. Can we transfer traffic too? We can just hang a red sparkling button there with the inscription ads, for instance. The user will click on it, go to our game page, and then decide whether to install it or not. So this will be the worst traffic option. It will have the lowest conversion rate for installs. Accordingly, even the engagement of the install will be low, let's say, because these are people who just accidentally click the button. Yes, these are children, this is our kind of target audience. But nevertheless, in short, this is an example of the worst traffic. What actions can we take to improve this? First and foremost, for example, in terms of user engagement, we are highly interested in understanding whether a person will actively engage with our game after experiencing it. In the first place, the primary strategy for achieving this is to provide them with the opportunity to play our game before they even reach the application page in the store. That is, I am referring to playable ads. We have the capability to embed a portion of our game, such as a key element or a core player component, and provide the user with a 10 to 15 second opportunity to play it. This enables them to envision and gain an understanding of the game, giving them a sense of what to expect and where they are headed, and only then suggest him to switch. Here, but besides that, we also use such interesting things as, say, alchemical outputs, which were derived by their own kind of experiments. This is, for example, such a thing as at the end we show a fake market. We show such a fake Android page of this Google Play or App Store on which the icon of our game, on which the install button is displayed here. And we translate not just a person who will click on our ad, for example, when we buy traffic there in some Google Ads, and they show our game there, then you or the user just clicking on the screen anywhere, and even if he doesn't want to, even if he accidentally, he still ends up on the page. And here we specifically want to select those individuals who truly desire to click on the install button on our fabricated marketplace. Here they will click on install on this button. We will show them, for instance, a CAPTCHA if we're talking about iOS, because we can't log out the user from the iOS app without a CAPTCHA. And then they will go to market, see almost the same page, which will be very similar, and there is a very high probability that they will click install. Thus, using this approach, we were able to exclude those users who had already expressed their liking for the gameplay of our game or application. And in addition, we, in a manner of speaking, chose those users who are more inclined to click on install, because they have already clicked on install on a page that is very similar to the one that will be available in the market. Thanks for your question. There are a few other subtleties that I will keep to myself, so to speak, and not disclose at this time. They are including a couple of additional percentage points to all of this, adding a little bit more. However, the two key aspects that have given the most contribution and impact are these.
By the way, here is a thesis regarding a fabricated page in the App Store. Well, a counterfeit page in either the store or Google Play. We suggest colleagues, by the way, to give this a try, albeit in a slightly different approach or method. We conducted the testing ourselves. In summary, at the time when iOS 14.1 was released, when the scanning feature became available for use, here. And we also tried to set up split metrics on a fake page, but our experiment failed there no matter what. But we saw very useful information, how parents in principle look at the page in the App Store and Google Play. They have such people in the service who create exactly such fake pages. Here, you can analyze how much time a potential user spends there on screenshots, how much time he watches videos, how far he scrolls the entire page, and so on and so on. This is actually interesting and useful information that you can acquire knowledge of.
Well, perhaps you could consider sharing at least one key finding that you have made during your research.
What we saw is that it scrolls through a lot of screenshots. Well, it was the year 2021. Now, I don't know, parents have stopped scrolling through screenshots so much. But to test this in reality, even a small traffic, to direct it to such pages, I think it is useful.
Remember which screen you scrolled to on?
Honestly, can't recall. Need to verify. It's intriguing. They present the time spent on screenshots, video watching duration, extent of opening full description, reading behavior, and scrolling through reviews to gain insights into user engagement patterns. So we saw that, for me, it was surprising. We saw on this page approximately 1.5 or 2 minutes how much time they spend on pages. It was a long time ago. It feels like it is quite long how many users are currently present there on the store page.
Read the description.
In my view, they read a bit. I've been doing stats for a while. I can check speed metrics to see our data.
All right, fine. Let's proceed, Oleg.
One moment can be added. Tol, just want to say that on average it takes a few seconds, 5, 7, 10, well, a couple of minutes to make a decision about installing the application. It's just crazy. I don't know. Are you sure they watched, or maybe the kids fooled there?
Well, look, Speed Metrics creates a fabricated page, and we drove from Facebook. We set it up on parents, so it was definitely a parent who came to the page. And all those numbers that I'm talking about now, these are the numbers that Speed Metrics gives. And it indicates that you spent so much time on the screenshot, scrolled to such and such. On AVG, they move here, scroll so much there, the whole page here, and so on. So they have their analytics more or less organized, and what I bought for the numbers. These were the numbers. I was also very surprised why in 2 minutes. But most likely because parents, sometimes some parents, maybe we got into such a cohort that they read, watched, and were interested in the content that was being presented.
It is obvious, thank you.
I have a small inquiry. You mentioned playable advertisements. Did you create them as native built-in apps, or did you execute them through some sort of Google and so forth, like HTML5?
We accomplished it in various ways, but to determine the most effective approach, we must address the extent and frequency of its utilization in your applications, enabling us to make informed decisions on how to enhance it. For instance, HTML5 is convenient because it enables you to create a new playable within your application, which was not possible before, and load it there without the need to update the application software or make any modifications to it. If you prepare the infrastructure, you can do it without any problems.
I mean not via Google, like an ad, but built in natively inside without relying on external sources. Yes.
In other words, you have the option to embed it, or you can simply take a piece of content from another game, such as a playbook that we want to transfer here, and easily incorporate all elements into the APK or generate a backup by utilizing specific code and resources in a seamless manner.
I'll just explain, we didn't try to fly to Google. That is, somehow we were very weak. That is, we had conversions. That is, either the price was too low. That is, we set it, but it didn't work. So it was quite interesting.
However, I can contribute my 5 cents of opinion here. Google is not the appropriate platform for conducting placebos. Placebos exhibit significantly better performance on networks like IronSource, Unity, Applovin, and other similar platforms.
An inquiry from a slightly different area. This is more about making money when we move forward. No, it is more of a question regarding the acquisition of Twitter. Well, yes, that's correct.
All right, thanks. Yeah, thanks for asking. Guys, is there anything else you need or want to inquire about? Additions, wishes, suggestions?
5 seconds. I'll say that during the COVID times, I didn't have an organic boost on Android. Only on iOS installations doubled, and even that was for a short period, like 1 or 2 months, and that's it. When did this topic start exactly? Well, in order to get up.
Let us gather statistics. Let us gather statistics who experienced the boost in years impacted by the COVID-19 pandemic.
We did not feel very good in Android. Well, there was some growth, but it was not sufficient to say that we were completely satisfied.
More iOS, right?
I will mention an important point. We experienced a big drop, which you did not acknowledge at that time, but I want to talk about it. If discussing art, historical excursion, 2018 to 19, Siberian Apocalypse. Yes, it was Siberian Apocalypse. In the year 2018, on the 22nd of June, all the applications unexpectedly disappeared from Simular, and Simular consistently showed the interface of BabyPath. Yes.
Did you lose everything? This fell off in the 60s or 70s, I think.
We lost everything, and exactly a year later, everything came back. Exactly on June 23rd, everything returned. On June 22, 2018, it disappeared. On June 23rd, everything returned. And at this moment, I am going to reveal a truly terrifying secret that will enable you to achieve remarkably impressive download numbers in a very short span of time, starting right now. A simple rule that requires you to be Baby Basov in order to comply with it.
I had anticipated that you would express something impressive, but instead you articulated something evident that is commonly known by everyone.
No, in fact, we were inquiring Google about the current events if we were to express what is currently taking place. Currently, I believe that all individuals also perceive certain problems and challenges with the Simmer application. I believe not everything is going well for you at the moment in Simmer all of a sudden.
I commenced experiencing these issues at the age of 21, my gaming activities cease to involve hitting characters as they previously did. The further, the worse it gets.
We saw it on May 23rd. Very much. And we saw it in such a way that on one day, very hard falls happened. Many guys sent me screenshots. For someone, it was May 10th. For someone, it was April 30th. But exactly on these dates. Google responded to our queries with the following answers. Initially, it seems that you may have a design issue related to spam, guys. But guys, if we have pan design, then what are we saying about Baby Bus, where the entire panda is absolutely identical in every location? We don't have one, we don't have two, we lack 3 of these projects.
Oleg, I'm telling you right away, there can't be any design spam. Because we only had one single application in Google Play, it also lost a lot of organic traffic.
I am aware of it. I also mentioned it in Google. Subsequently, they informed us and provided us with the subsequent version, which is data safety, correct?
Yes, we are encountering a problem with data safety. All of the combinations that we have tried in principle have not produced any result or solution to the issue at hand.
We tried not to collect any data at all. We have this option. Our applications do not collect data.
We eliminated all the advertising for CrossPro, Minapi. We eliminated everything, released games. Well, let's say there was no happiness there.
Oleg, I want to say that when I communicate with Google, I get the feeling that when you ask him, in short, your Google manager, what the problem is, he opens the manual of possible causes of this problem, looks at it, and gives you a random one. Well, that's the feeling I got. There is a legend going around that there is some kind of UFO in Google, which they caught, or it crashed somewhere. They connected it. It's their main server. It's the UFO. And they don't understand what's happening inside this UFO. It somehow wants to give traffic to someone and doesn't want to give it to others.
This is what is known as machine learning. They stated that ever since they reached the age of 21, Google Play has transitioned to utilizing machine learning technology. So there, individuals are involved in a multitude of activities. They manufacture machines in that particular place based on their own incomprehensible algorithms.
Yes, and they themselves are unable to comprehend anything in these incomprehensible algorithms, and therefore provide identical responses to the questions we pose to them.
Can I ask, what do you mean I got into Simulare? Simulare is a similar application in Google?
Yes. Simulare is when you open some random game and it has your game in Simulare, and through this Simulare, a lot of organic traffic comes to the games. And when the game doesn't get into Simulare, it means that it won't get, let's say, 90 or 95% of the organic traffic it could get.
This is the traffic, which, well, you might also find interesting what it's called in the console. But in principle, this traffic is available to all apps. Or do you mean or on BoostBig?
No, it's not available in all apps. Some apps don't fall into similar at all, or fall into similar to a few other small apps, where there is also no traffic.
What is contained in your order? There is insufficient traffic in Google. Could you please repeat it once more?
For instance, as soon as our game gets into similar, it starts receiving, let's say, a traffic of 10,000 or more per day, which is a substantial amount of traffic for our game. And it can be, as I mentioned, well, it reached up to 200,000 per day during certain peak moments, but on average it can range from 20 to 40,000 per day, or sometimes 50, 60, 15 or 17. Well, how it will work there, how cool they will give you, it is impossible to predict, but it is definitely possible to predict that if you don't get into similar, you will have up to 1,000, maybe 2,000 organic per day. Approximately 2,000 people visit the place every day to buy organic items.
How do you decide if it falls into the similar section or not?
Oleg, how do you determine? Special tools. I'm not a specialist, separate department for that. I don't know their porridge completely, but I can request it from our department. For example, similes for some game. They rent a room from someone and watch the game I need, for example, who has it in similes. Either there is, but I don't know if it's already working or not. There was such an application on Adobe Air, I think, a written application into which you could throw a bundle of your game and it parsed the market there to a given depth, this play market, and showed it to someone in characters.
In fact, you can see it simply by looking at boost.org. You do not need anything else.
Well, it's kind of intuitive, like when you already have it.
Google Play Console is interesting. That's its principle.
Do you enter your applications yourself?
No, you can. Yes. When you already know it's there, you can go into the necessary games and see your game in someone's stimulants in your country.
Yes, the crucial thing is to consider its incentives for your applications. This is in line with my logic. If we have a series of characters, there are multiple games with Lada Nikita, then a similar game with Lada Nikita should be.
You have many similar games, making it easier for you, but it doesn't work. So we have for some reason, games have stopped flying there now.
Interesting in Google Play is that in principle it is an indicator of similarity. So if you have 0, then correspondingly you have 0 output. Let me demonstrate it to you at this moment. I find Google Play fascinating, so here's the real indicator. It's as if you emerged from Similara. Well, here we have, roughly speaking, before this application, yes, here we had an equivalent indicator, that is with search. With these, now it is approaching 0.
But listen, the thing is that Google has already changed the issuance of this several months, or maybe years, or a year ago. In the 22nd year, I believe he redid it. Currently, via Google Play, it's not just your game found through search, but it implies the game was found by entering the name conditionally.
Yes, search is only for branded installs via search, and everything not branded via search he records as intriguing. There, if you scroll down on this page, even lower than the previous position.
At this moment, I just wanted to illustrate what Oleg was discussing about our autumn season. Well, let's say here. And the second peak was after somewhere in June, that is 1 to 2 May.
Yes, it occurred, but later rebounded if not wrong. We lacked.
We didn't have. This is individual. We have branded games with the same Lola as Hello Kitty, it all died. And competitors who possess the identical Hello Kitty, they are comparable to one another. Regrettably, we do not possess it. Furthermore, the answers obtained from the experiments yield no valuable information or insights. Yes.
It's all very sad.
But I will come back. While I believe that this is a similar situation to the 18th year, that Google is testing something, and most likely exactly a year for them, and everything will return to its place. Well, at least it's hope.
Well, I could demonstrate a comparable situation illustrating what occurs when you revisit similar. I experienced an organic growth rate of 4,000 to 24,000 on a single project per month. Well, there he is, sharp there right now. And sharply you hit, let's say, 2 years we waited for this project to get into similar. It was once in similar, now it got there again. Well, and strangely, we have one game left on the entire account in similar. Why there is no answer to it either.
Regarding Google Play, we didn't agree there that there is something interesting in Google Play. Search goes there. There, below, if you go there on this page, there will be 2 sections. Explore Search, or whatever it's called, and Explore, just Explore. So there is a topic there that it turns out here. If you go down here with this Store Analysis section, there are search terms. This is exclusively installations by brand name. There is translation, non-translation, and sometimes it's a little slow. And there is Explore search terms. This is also a search, but now it is recorded in the Explore section. And thus, at present, due to the fact that all data is documented in Explore, in practical terms, if there are only a few brand preferences, it becomes nearly unfeasible to distinguish search results from the similar to your interest section. I, in brief, do not know how to do it.
No, but generally, does this information have any practical value for someone?
No, not anymore.
Such, let's say, cognitive purity, because, well, in general, it was interesting to watch it. That is, it gave some kind of understanding, and not direct, but indirect, intuitive understanding of something there.
Well, you comprehend, yes, Google closed this Instagram because there were too many questions that started flying towards it.
know earlier from which installation something was downloaded, how, what, and understand the traffic source. Now, there is absolutely no idea, so only in ASO tools you can really see if there is somewhere you are similar to someone or not.
And once more, ASO tools are an approximation. In certain cases, this is a verified source. It definitely possesses knowledge of what is true and what is not. And any ASO tool is some kind of approximations, interpolations of what you see from the outside. These are assumptions, probabilistic models, and so on.
Unfortunately, Google's knowledge doesn't always translate into disclosure, but we are grateful to the creators of tools that enable us to catch a glimpse of what's there.